I want to begin with a brief update on the situation in Manchester, England. 30 minutes after NBC News' last live report on this situation, they are again saying at least 20 people have been killed following explosions at an Ariana Grande concert. You see there the panic as people move to flee the arena at the end of the concert after hearing some loud explosions. That venue is on top of a transit station in Manchester. Unclear if that's connected. The Associated Press is only saying that there are a number of fatalities. Limited info, a lot of speculation now at this point on social media. If we get confirmed information in the next 30 minutes, we'll pass it along to you. Closer to home now. Attention, people without windows. There are storms moving through the Denver metro area. Nothing severe at this point. We mainly mention it because somewhere in the recent history of local television news, we've created an expectation that every time an ordinary thunderstorm rolls through, we will do live play-by-play on TV like it is the Super Bowl of weather. This would just be a line of regular old thunderstorms, folks, and we'll let you know if that changes. Two people doing business in the main branch of the Denver Library are now out of business. Police say their business was dealing meth. A similar scene to what Jeremy Hahola from our 9 Wants to Know team showed us in his recent reports, as the library tries to balance openness with safety.
We can all agree the most serious offenses at libraries should be overdue books and not drug deals.
Oh, okay. Meth?
3 days after we exposed rising crime, open drug use, and meth deals inside the city's main library, Denver police make an undercover bust. Arrest reports say a confidential informant walked up to Jason Smith at the library and asked where one could buy meth. Smith directed the informant to Leroy Jackson, who made the exchange for $60. The two were then immediately arrested. This news comes as we've learned police plan to step up patrols outside and inside the library as it deals with the heroin epidemic firsthand.
I'm working hard on this issue, and I'm glad that the media has finally caught on and illuminated this issue for the rest of Denver and the rest of our nation to see.
Meanwhile, Mayor Michael Hancock uploaded this video to his Facebook page as he answered some of the 100 viewer comments we dropped off at his office.
Everyone deserves to be safe in our libraries and that we won't tolerate illegal criminal activity. And then secondly, we're going to work to get them to the services and the help that they need. So Randy, thank you for writing in, but I want to be very clear to you. This administration, my administration, has not looked the other way, not for a second.
And the next chapter for the library focuses on possible renovations to make it easier for security officers to spot illegal things inside that massive building. It's like 500,000 square feet.
Yeah.
So lots to patrol. Library also talking about getting cameras too, more security cameras.
And I think we've tried to make clear all along, there is the heroin epidemic, which is one issue, and then there is the public space.
Yes. It's public space. As one employee says, they have public in their middle name, the Denver Public Library. So tough things to deal with there.
All right, Jeremy, thank you so much. Out and around this weekend, you know, people kept coming up and asking me, is the A-line working? Listen, folks, I don't monitor it for you on the weekends. But today, yes, the train to the plane is functioning normally. However, the A-line's working on a bit of a different schedule this week, along with quite a few other light rail lines and buses. Now, we've told you that this adjustment was for efficiency, to minimize delays. But RTD also pointed out a good safety issue.
That's the big reason why we're adjusting the schedule, is that here at Peoria, a couple of times throughout the day, the University of Colorado A-line and the R-line will show up right at the same time. So people really scramble to catch that connection. Once I think that this train, I say goodbye. I want to proceed in, but if I kept walking right now, you'll see. You got another train there. We actually do change schedules three times a year. We welcome public comments on it. So, you know, if you're seeing a situation that's not safe or a connection's hard to make, you know, let us know. We take that into account, and it's largely from customer and public feedback.
There are nearly 4 dozen routes that have schedule changes, and you can find a link to all the switch-ups on the next page at 9news.com. All signs today suggest that CU football coach Mike McIntyre will keep his job after an investigation into whether the football staff sat on domestic violence accusations made against an assistant. CU Regents had delayed voting on a contract extension for Coach McIntyre until after they had a detailed report from investigators. CU got that report today, is not sharing it publicly yet, but importantly, Regents put Coach Mac's extension on next month's agenda. University System President Bruce Benson has been directed to figure out whether any policy changes or staff discipline is appropriate. But again, it looks like at least Coach Mack is in the clear. Rene Lima-Marin is pardoned, and he sits in limbo. The governor's controversial pardon Friday only means that Lima-Marin has a stronger case to fight his deportation to Cuba. The man from Aurora, who was convicted of felony armed robbery, jailed, released early, returned to jail, then pardoned, now waits in custody. His legal team did not file his petition today. They tell me that'll happen soon. But then there's no timetable for when ICE must respond and decide whether Mr. Lima-Marin goes home. Seatbelts are not magic. They are not a guarantee that you will survive a crash. They would not have survived all 188 people not wearing belts who were killed in crashes on Colorado's roads in 2015. Chances are they would have saved 60 of them. That's the best guess from the people who study traffic safety. 60 wreaths now hang at Bandimere Speedway for the 60 people who likely would have survived if they had made the choice to wear a seatbelt. Simple choice, simple fact. A life-saving choice for the driver or the passenger, a life-altering choice for their families. One wreath is for Mackenzie Forrest from Lakewood.
The simple fact is that she chose not to have a seatbelt on that night. And if she had it on, she would be here.
Mackenzie fits the profile of the 15% of Coloradans who choose not to wear a seatbelt. She's young and from an urban area. More than half of the unbelted deaths were people ages 16 to 34. In 2015, the majority of those crashes happened in urban areas instead of rural ones. That hasn't always been the case. Seatbelts would not have saved all those people, not even half. But the wreaths remind us just how many could be saved by a simple choice. Can it really be? It has been 9 years since we watched this strangely behaving tornado tear across Weld County and take direct aim at Windsor. It was May 22nd, 2008. The day this video was captured by our late colleague Gary Wolf on top of a bridge up in Weld County. The tornado was 3/4 of a mile wide. Winds hit 160 miles per hour. One person was killed that day, several others injured, and 78 homes destroyed. You know, we're not so offended that Colorado Mills Mall is not in any mood to talk to us about their hail-mauled mall now that we know that the state of Colorado even is having trouble getting in touch with the folks in charge at Colorado Mills. The Department of Labor just wants to help all the displaced workers get new jobs. Some of those employees might qualify for unemployment. But the Department of Labor says it's having a hard time getting in touch with building management. We feel your pain, state. Until they do, they're working with the county to host some hiring events. We're trying to get a handle on who exactly has a handle on this situation. So we requested emails from Jefferson County commissioners and county employees related to the hailstorm at the mall, and today we were told no emails exist. He runs marathons. Lots of people run marathons. Not many run them where he does.
I kind of liken it to moving 6 people's grandparents, because we've been here for 19 years and we've got a full basement that's just full of stuff.
2 decades of memories and music moved in a day. And the oil and gas company connected to a house explosion has been a major player in Colorado politics. We'll take a closer look next.
Nice start to the day and the week, and then this is a cool front that's moving through from the north, triggering gusty winds from about 20 to 25 miles per hour, heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. So far, the line of storms non-severe as they track from the northwest to the southeast over the downtown area. A lot of lightning, a lot of wind, and heavy rainfall. So far, impacting the evening commute a bit because of the standing water on the roadway. Now, out on the far eastern plains, there is a cell that's producing hail and damaging winds. Severe thunderstorm warning out for the Burlington area. Once this front drops south, things will calm down later on this evening. The severe weather threat growing in New Mexico and Texas. Our high today at 67, cooler than average. We'll do that all over again tomorrow. Cooler air coming in with this front, but only for one more day. High pressure will bring us a sunny day. The warmest day of the week will be Wednesday with a high of 80. But tonight, showers and thunderstorms between now and 9 o'clock, and then areas of fog when you wake up. And we get some sunshine going tomorrow and a slightly calmer day around the area tonight. tonight, do be prepared for heavy rain and lightning. That fog may impact your drive tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the mid-30s, but above freezing. Temperatures tomorrow in the low 60s. Again, as I mentioned, Wednesday's our warmest day of the week with a high of 80. Thunder showers on Thursday, and then a nice, comfortable forecast heading right into Friday and the upcoming holiday weekend.
Kathy, thanks. 2 Coloradans who've been climbing Everest made it to the summit. Jim Davidson reached the summit late yesterday. He had dreamed of that moment since he was a little kid. So, of course, he did what any of us do when we have a nice meal or fix something around the house. He posted on Facebook. He said, "I'm standing on the roof of the world." His first attempt was cut short in April 2015. We told you about that trip. That was the year that an earthquake hit the region, killing more than 20 climbers at base camp. Jim had to leave Colorado in mid-March to make the climb happen this time. Another Coloradan summited Everest yesterday. His name, Chris Bombardier. His wife tells us that Chris is the first person with severe hemophilia to summit Everest. He posted on Facebook, that's what they all do now, "For every child who has been told that due to their bleeding disorder, for every patient wondering when the next dose of life-saving clotting factor will be, for all of us overcoming the impossible, this mountain is for you." Chris uses IV medication to replace the clotting protein he's missing in his blood. He typically uses it once a week. With this strenuous climb, he's been using it every 2 to 3 days. His plan is to conquer the 7 summits, the highest peak on every continent. Everest was number 6. His final climb in Antarctica should happen in mid-December. The teacher from Eagle Crest High that we've been following as his team works up Everest is currently at Camp 2. They're going to wait out the weather before they head for the summit. There are those who don't run. There are those who do run for fun. There are those who run marathons. And for those who run marathons, consider the guy who is running them on trails in every U.S. national park. Bill just finished up a marathon in Rocky Mountain National Park last weekend. That was number 42. He has 17 to go.
I am in the midst of a life experience project to run a marathon in all 59 U.S. national parks. My project, I'm not actually running organized races. Most of the national parks don't allow commercial events because the park is for the people. It's not for commercial gain. I work with the rangers, which I did here as well. I get out a topographical map and I figure out a 26.2 mile course, and I pick a beautiful day like I did in Rocky Mountain back on Wednesday and run a 26.2 mile joy run through the park. When you're running versus hiking or doing anything else in the mountains and on the trails, you really have to focus and pay attention. You can look around a little bit, but if you're not paying attention and you're not in the moment, you're going to trip and fall, you're going to get hurt. But it's so much more engaging. You're out in nature. You're not pounding the pavement, which is actually hard on your body. And that's where that kind of animalistic feel comes, that you're actually part of the surroundings, as we have been for thousands of years, but we've forgotten about it. Just sort of thinking it through to myself, I thought, why don't I make it hard? Make it something that is really sort of engaging and grabs you, and that was to run long distances, run a full marathon, 26.2 miles, in all of the parks. I didn't start running until I was 33, and I'm 45 now. When I first started running, it was terrible, and I actually didn't enjoy it for a long, long time. But I stayed at it because I wanted to get in better shape. I never thought that I would ever do anything like this.
Didn't start till 33. I got time. Bill has 2 marathons left in Colorado. Mesa Verde, which should be beautiful, and the Great Sand Dunes, which sounds miserable because that ground is super sandy. Like even off the dunes, it's all sand. All right, well then Bill's on to Arizona. He's going to run at the Grand Canyon. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Closing time and a quick reopening means a crazy one-day move. And the most Colorado thing we've seen is a coming attraction. Next. Loading the boxes, then loading them all into the moving truck, then unpacking everything again, then finding where you put it. Moving is the worst. Dazzle Jazz Club is just going to rip the Band-Aid off and do everything in one day. Not easy packing up 19 years worth of stuff in 24 hours and moving it across town. Our Ann Herbst went to see it.
It's been a big challenge. It's been a lot of fun, but it's also controlled chaos at the moment.
Did we start moving yesterday or a couple of days ago?
No, today.
No, yeah, it's all today.
We're moving Dazzle to our new location.
We're moving from our location at 930 Lincoln to 1512 Curtis, the Bowers building.
In one day, we're doing it.
Looks like today.
One day.
Oof, we open tomorrow. Soft opening is tomorrow. Our last day here was last night.
We need to mark this as fragile. This is very fragile.
I kind of liken it to moving 6 people's grandparents. Because we've been here for 19 years and we've got a full basement that's just full of stuff.
Moving like right now, how do I feel about it? It's super fun, yes!
Really great crew. They're fantastic. Great people to work with.
I'm excited about it. I think it'll be really good for us. New location, more people, more traffic, closer to downtown. I'm excited.
That makes the move a bit easier. Dazzle's grand opening is June 1st. Colorado's energy companies are proceeding with that state-ordered inspection of oil and gas pipelines following the house explosion in Firestone that killed 2 men and severely injured a woman. Republicans at the state capitol blocked a last-minute plan to force energy companies to come up with a publicly accessible map of those lines. Anadarko, Colorado's largest energy company, owned the well and the pipeline that's been linked to the house explosion. That company, like so many others, is politically active. Progressive journalist David Sirota with the International Business Times has been tracking Anadarko's influence on state politics. It certainly is not a surprise that Anadarko's lobbying at the Capitol.
It's not a surprise. I think what's a surprise to some may be that the company was saying that it was saddened and its thoughts and prayers were with the families. At the same time, it was deploying its lobbyists to the Capitol to oppose a bill to force companies to disclose where their oil and gas wells are so that homeowners know where they are.
You've seen environmentalists lose races that they've competed in as they've been stymied at the legislature. They've then turned to local ordinances and to ballot measures, and Anadarko has met them there as well.
That's right. Anadarko spent a large amount of money on ballot initiative groups, first to try to prevent anti-fracking and anti-drilling ballot measures from even being on the ballot. When they were successful at that, the money then shifted into a ballot measure to make it harder for citizens to get measures on the ballot in general.
And the folks who are pro-fossil fuel development will say all of this is right and good and they're out there advocating for their interests. And your article just kind of lays it out so that people can see, while the company publicly is dealing with this communications crisis, the work of lobbying and the machinery of politics kind of rolls on.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think what people need to understand is that when you have a huge amount of money coming into politics, that money oftentimes is then followed up by legislative actions by the people who benefited from that money. I mean, we're talking about an enormous amount of money, $7.2 million from Anadarko in just the last election cycle. That's about $10,000 a day of campaign cash coming into Colorado every day for 2 years.
David Sirota with the International Business Times. We will link to your article in the next section on 9news.com. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
The most Colorado thing we saw today is a baby announcement practically shouted from the top of Lookout Mountain. Blake and Kelsey Russo-Nixon tell us they only needed 3 or 4 tries with the camera on the self-timer before everyone, including the dog Manny, looked perfect. Look at that eye lock from Manny. That is fantastic. Kelsey and Blake have been together for almost 8 years, married nearly 2. They've done a whole lot of traveling and backpacking together, so they figured the phrase joining the adventure was apropos. Congratulations, Kelsey and Blake and Manny. Feedback from one of you who says we are out of sync with Colorado. Next. We always finish with your feedback received in the last 30 minutes. Lynn in Carbondale emails to say, love your show, but there is a 3 to 4 second delay between the audio and the video. I know, I'm just messing with you. We'll figure out what's going on. I'll take this to the engineering department. You're probably on the repeater, the translator there in the Aspen area. We'll figure this out for you, Lynn, and bless you for continuing to watch even with the audio delay. See you next time.